I have a love-hate relationship with Jordan Peterson. On one hand, he is an important figure in the self-help psychology field who has helped many people get their lives together. His book and ideas are useful in many ways for self-improvement. On the other hand, Peterson's ideas are built on a foundation of tradcon beliefs that are divorced from reality and enforce an old-fashioned sense of gender roles and norms that were outdated in the friggin' 70s. His worldview informs his ideas, and this seeps into his self-help, resulting in many people who listen to him internalizing this nonsense and influencing their worldview as a result. In a sense, he has done a lot of good for society, but the foundation of his beliefs are kind of, well, as they say, problematic. And this causes him to do a lot of harm also. I recommend taking him with a grain of salt, as you should with everyone. No one person should be followed to the grave and trusted wholeheartedly, no matter how much good they do. This is the difference between a conscious person who thinks for themselves and a sheepish follower who cannot. One of Peterson's main ideas is that one must make sure their home is in proper order before they criticize the world. That those who demand society to change should get their lives in order before they change anything. It's the classic "can't change the world unless you change yourself" adage. On the surface, this seems like a deep introspective idea that forces one to consider their own dirt before addressing the dirt of others. It's true that you can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose. But you can at least let your friend know that they have a boogie up their nose. Odd example, I know, but bear with me. My problem with Peterson's idea here is that he thinks this is a call to action when it's actually a call to complacency. It basically is asking people who see suffering and injustice around them to respond by ignoring it in favor of minding their own business and improving their own lives. It's selfish individualism that is promoted by late-stage capitalism. Peterson's assumption here is that if everyone gets their own lives together, society as a whole will benefit and the evils of the world will be solved. As a result, this idea would be prudent if it were realistic, but it isn't. That is because we, in the real world of evil, injustice, and suffering, do not have the luxury of waiting for all of us to get our own act together to be powerful enough to address evil and suffering. People are suffering. People are dying. Many of them just can't get their lives together. It isn't that simple. It's true that addressing large-scale issues requires some form of introspection, but that is a progressive process that happens along the way. You will always have a mess in your life, something to fix or deal with. But you will be dead before all of that is improved or in perfect working order. Your home will always have something that's dirty, a toilet that needs to be washed, or something that needs to be fixed, or what have you, but the world outside of your home still needs your help. Society doesn't need perfect, well-adjusted people to fix it. It needs the people, all of us, in our mud, grime, and mess to do something. Society needs people who are a mess that are trying to be better and address that, but obviously fall short of the mark because they are real people who exist in a real, messy, crazy, wild world. There is no perfect version of society that can be reached by everybody maximizing their potential or whatever. There will always be mess and grime to deal with. It doesn't require people that are perfect, but people who are imperfect and know it. Think about the biggest social movements in history, the ones that changed the way that we live, the ones that addressed suffering and injustice, the ones that, changed the world for the better. For example, the civil rights movement of the 20th century. Contrary to how you were probably taught in school, not all involved were Dr. King or Rosa Parks. They were regular Americans, working people, students, like all of us, with their own messy lives. They saw the injustice and rallied together demanding change. None of this would have happened if they all waited to be the right kind of people to address the problem. They weren't heroic demigods of people, they weren't superheroes, they were flawed, filthy people who decided to fight injustice and improve themselves as a result. That result is something that's strangely overlooked by people like Peterson. It has been shown that doing good deeds makes one feel good and improves their mental state. There is a release of dopamine along with other things that tell the body that this is pleasurable and that you should keep doing it. Now, there is debate in the psychological field about altruism that asks if one can truly be altruistic if doing good and helping others gives you pleasure. And it asks if one can truly be selfless in helping others. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter. Think about it, it really doesn't matter whether or not it's truly altruistic. I don't care why you do good, so long as you are doing good. Society can't wait for everyone to be in the right intentions to do good things, and the evils of the world will not wait for us to be well-rounded, educated, astute people that to allow us to take them on. The evils of the world will continue to hurt and destroy, whether you like it or not. Intentions, place in life, home life, all of this is irrelevant. You working to help make the world better will put you on the path on being better yourself. That is something that is clearly ignored, even though it's proven psychologically to be good. Many people who are depressed and suicidal, who hate their lives, who don't care much about themselves, often they cite a lack of purpose, especially in modern Western first world society where many things are automated, where there's a lack of jobs in many places because jobs are being either outsourced or they're being changed, where people with specific skill sets are no longer necessary. These people lose a sense of purpose, and they may even have a good job, but they're just disassociating from it. They don't feel alive. They don't care much for it. And so suicide becomes a realistic kind of like answer because they're living this life of suffering and they don't feel like it means anything because they don't have a sense of purpose. But when we take on a sense of purpose, that can help alleviate that depression, that can help alleviate those dark thoughts, because now it's telling you, no, I can't kill myself, I can't mope because I have to make a change. Think about all of the people who say that they were selfish and just coasting through life, and then they had children, and now they had a sense of purpose, and they had to work hard, and they had to make changes in order to protect their children, keep them alive, and keep them well fed and all of that, because they wanted their children to grow up in a good home and in a good life. These people took on responsibility, and that responsibility made them better, but they couldn't wait until the right time. They couldn't wait until their house was in working order. Sometimes life just happens. And for a lot of people, it's been happening for a long time. So they stand up and demand change because they know they don't have the luxury of waiting to be saved. All of history's most influential people had skeletons in their closet, messy homes, bad beliefs and ideas, and all of them helped to improve society without themselves being perfect. They progressively improved as human beings in their efforts to improve the world. Jordan Peterson is one of those people. He has great ideas, but he has skeletons in his closet. He has problems, and these stories keep coming out, and there's more news about him, and I am not shocked about it because I don't worship him, and you shouldn't either. Why do you think we keep hearing about these hit pieces of famous, influential, historical people when we find out that they weren't demigods? Like Dr. King's relationship issues, or the fact that most founding fathers were racist slaveholders. I mean, these people were human beings. They had dirt. They lived in specific time periods where that allowed for certain things, you know? And we all are aware of that, but we don't internalize it and realize that just because somebody is great does not mean that person is perfect. And it doesn't mean that they should be worshipped. Look, here's another example. I love Bernie Sanders. That's no secret about me. I will scream it from the rooftop to the very top of my lungs until my lungs explode. But I don't love everything about him. Everyone is saying that he has no scandals or skeletons in his closet. But let me be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because he's a human being. And while yes, he's been consistently the same person essentially for most of his entire life, been fighting for the same issues for, gosh, longer than I've been alive, you know, he's still human. And I wouldn't care if he had skeletons in his closet, because that doesn't change the good that he's done. The good that he has done for people far exceeds any dirt that he may have in his life. So any dirt they try to dig up on him doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant because the man has helped make society better. I don't follow him because I like him as a person. I follow him because he does good and promotes good. I don't care about his intentions. I care about his effect on the country as a whole and the people around him. Now I'm going to end this video with a message to you. My motivation is that if you want to make the world better, go. Just do it. Do something. It doesn't have to be big. Not everyone needs to be another Malcolm X or George Washington or Martin Luther King or what have you to make change. It can be small, like volunteering to help children in need, helping at the animal shelter, donating money to a cause. Do something, anything. The good that you do to the whole of the good that's being done in the world amasses on itself and builds on itself. It's just like every penny will build up progressively to $1, which will build up to $10, $20, $30, you understand. Do something. You do have the power right now, where you are, regardless of who you are, to make change and do something that will help mankind fight back the evils of society, the destructive forces that are holding us down. Even if it's filming a show that edifies people, or writing a book, or doing something to move the collective consciousness. Even Peterson does good in spite of his messy life and his horrible ideas. This is the power that we all have. It's a power that only works when used, not when waiting on it. I waited too long to help society myself. I wish I'd started earlier, but I was under the impression that I had to be in working order, had to be the right amount of education, right amount of training, right amount of understanding, know what I was talking about. But now I realized that I had power right where I was to do something good, and I was just waiting on it, and it went to waste because of it. See, Bernie Sanders was one of the people that helped me see that. See that I have power as an individual, as a citizen of this country, to make real change. That power that I have to improve society is the same as you and everyone else. So let's go. Enough waiting. Let's just go and make the world better. Because the world is waiting for you to help. Mess and all.